Gaius Caesar was born day before the calends of September in the consulship of his father and Gaius Fonteius Capito. His surname Caligula he derived from a joke of the troops, because he was brought up in their midst in the dress of a common soldier. Yet even at that he not control his natural cruelty and viciousness, but he was a most eager witness of the tortures and executions of those who suffered punishment. Reveling at night in gluttony and adultery, disguised in a wig and a long robe. Passionately devoted besides to the theatrical arts of dancing and singing. After he had assumed various surnames, for he was called Pius, child of the camp, father of the people. And he came near assuming a crown at once and changing the semblance of a principate into the form of a monarchy. He lived in habitual incest with all his sisters. Of these he is believed to have violated Drusilla when he was still a minor, and even to have been caught lying with her by his grandmother Antonia, at whose house they were brought up in company. The rest of his sisters he did not love with so great affection, nor honor so highly, but often prostituted them to his favorites. So that he was the readier at the trial of Aemilius Lepidus to condemn them, as adulteresses and privy to the conspiracies against him. It is not easy to decide whether he acted more basely in contracting his marriages, and annulling them, or as a husband. Though Caesonia was neither beautiful nor young, and was already mother of 3 daughters by another, besides being a woman of reckless extravagance and wantonness, he loved her not only more passionately but more faithfully, often exhibiting her to the soldiers riding by his side, decked with cloak, helmet and shield, and to his friends even in a state of nudity. When cattle to feed the wild beasts which he had provided for a gladiatorial show were rather costly, he selected criminals to be devoured, and reviewing the line of prisoners without examining the charges, but merely taking his place in the middle of a colonnade, he bade them be led away from baldhead to baldhead. He seldom had anyone put to death except by numerous slight wounds, his constant order, which soon became well known, being strike so that he may feel that he is dying. When a different man than he had intended had been killed, through a mistake in the names, he said that the victim too had deserved the same fate. He often uttered the familiar line of the tragic poet, "Let them hate me, so they but fear me." Whenever he kissed the neck of his wife or sweetheart, he would say, "Off comes this beautiful head whenever I give the word." He respected neither his own chastity nor that of anyone else. He is said to have had unnatural relations with Marcus Lepidus, the pantomimic actor Mestor, and certain hostages. In his clothing, he did not follow the usage of his country and his fellow citizens, not always even that of his sex, or in fact, that of an ordinary mortal. He often appeared in public in embroidered cloaks covered with precious stones, with a long-sleeved tunic and bracelets, sometimes in silk and in a woman's robe, now in slippers or buskins, again in boots, such as the emperor's bodyguard wear, and times in the low shoes which are used by females. But oftentimes he exhibited himself with a golden beard, holding in his hand a thunderbolt, a trident, or a caduceus, emblems of the gods, and even in the garb of Venus. Sometimes he danced even at night, and once he summoned 3 counselors to the palace at the close of the second watch, and when they arrived in great and deathly fear, he seated them on the stage and then on the sudden burst out with a great din of flute and clogs, dressed in a cloak and a tunic reaching to his heels, and after dancing a number went off again. He was so passionately devoted to the green faction that he constantly dined in their stable. He did love his horse Incitatus, and it is also said that he planned to make him consul. He levied new and unheard of taxes on the daily wages of porters, an eighth on the earnings of prostitutes, as much as each received for one embrace. Seized with a mania for feeling the touch of money, he would often pour out huge piles of gold pieces in some open place, and wallow in them for a long time with his whole body. He assailed mankind of almost every epoch with no less envy and malice than insolence and cruelty. I think I may fairly attribute to mental weakness the existence of 2 exactly opposite faults in the same person: extreme assurance and, on the other hand, excessive timorousness. He even thought of destroying the poems of Homer, asking why he should not have the same privilege as Plato, who excluded Homer from his ideal commonwealth.